Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It is Marvin speaking. We're just going to go into a article about Dr. Richard Shephered, the pathologist, who technically ruled that the traumatic brain injury to Jay Slater was from a fall. So the Jay Slater case is not about a pathologist but refers to the accidental death of Jay, a 19-year-old who died in a remote ravine in Tenerife. Pathologists like Dr. Richard Shephered and Dr. Mark have provided evidence that his death was caused by a fall from a height, resulting in traumatic brain injury. A British coroner, James Adderley, officially ruled his death as an accident in July 2024. It's crazy how time passes. So the causes of death: traumatic brain injury from a fall from a height, confirmed by pathologists. The injuries were severe and likely resulting in instantaneous and painless death. Toxicology report, post-mortem test, despite being challenged due to the time and environment, detected traces of MDMA, cocaine and ketamine in his system. And yet, obviously, some of his friends, witnesses, were saying that he was coherent and technically sort of knew what he was doing. And like I said, he wasn't hammered. But obviously, in what the eyewitness said, reports that he got carried off, that tells me he was in no condition of looking after himself. Let's move on.
CT scan that they showed from that. I mean, to say that there was a fracture, I mean, before I saw that image, I'm thinking a fracture being a skull break. We've seen it lots of times, people fracture their skulls, whereas this was a complete shattering of the skull. I mean, it would have definitely caused unconsciousness, and it was a very significant injury.
Did you notice when he was talking about the injuries? Again, I could be reading between the lines and overlooking at something that's not there, but did you notice he said, however they were caused, these would have led to instant unconsciousness and instant death? The fact he said, however they were caused.
Yeah. Meaning that they could have been something else. But to be honest with you, I just think they were just parallel to what the Spanish authorities have said. They made it look like they were looking into this deeply, but like I said, for me, in this case, the mind, in their minds, it was an accident, and it was just obviously putting all the paperwork together to actually say that. But I do believe there's more to this than meets the eye. I really, really do, from top to bottom.
Again, when you're dealing in these terms, and bear in mind that for context, the pathologists often have to go and speak in court, and so they have to use language and terminology that is sufficient in a courtroom setting. Before, what he was saying is, obviously what I can't prove with evidence is whether someone was pushed, whether someone had any other sort of, third-party involvement before this. And so, whatever caused it, this is the injury that led to Jay's passing away.
Interesting stuff. Good analysis by these guys. They're absolutely brilliant. But like I said, for me, it is just weird that technically, I think there's a lot of people who know about head injuries and that have just come forward recently in private messages, which obviously tell us something. Like I said, obviously the message yesterday, which was alarming at the end of the day. But like I said, does this case go deeper than what we first thought in government-wise? Going to move on to Mariana. She made some good points about the head trauma caused Jay to pass instantly.
What's happening, TikTokers? I hope you well. Hope you've had a wonderful day. Thank fuck it's Friday tomorrow. Posting in my car because I've just got out of the gym. Wow, what a gym session. Brilliant. We're going to discuss it, right? And we're going to go into a little bit of detail as such and a bit of analysing, I think. So, right, the coroner advised that Jay Slater fell, and from his head trauma, it caused instant death. Okay? if he fell consciously and obviously fell head first, naturally, if you're falling, what are you going to do?
Put your hands out.
You're going to put your hands out, or you're going to try and stop. You're going to try and stop yourself hitting whatever it is. And like Brad said in the inquest, yeah, Jay had consumed drugs and alcohol, but he wasn't incapacitated in any way, right? So naturally, if you're falling from that height, you're going to put your hands out, okay? Let's also base it. If he was alive when he fell, if he hit his head straight away, why was there no talk about spinal injuries?
This was bizarre because all they seem to be on about is his head injuries and scratches on some of his body, or some marks, like he'd been walking and was technically cut by cactus and bushes and stuff like that.
Being morbid, if you're going to fall head first, your skull is connected to your vertebra, which is your spine. So there would be significant damage to Jay's spine, wouldn't there? I don't think he fell when he was conscious. I really don't. I don't think he fell at all. And like the coroner advised on the documentary, you can't tell if someone's been pushed or if they fell, because there's no mark if someone's pushed you. But yeah, there's a few things that really do stand out. If naturally, if you're falling, you're going to try and have like a defense type of to stop you falling. There would be talks about, obviously, yeah, they said multiple fractures, but if you fell, there'd be fractures to the hands or to the...
That wasn't explained enough, to be honest with you. When you actually go back through it, it seemed like to me it was rushed through his head injuries. Yes, we saw a diagram and stuff like that, and it was good to see it live and what Dr. Shephered was, but it wasn't enough information for those who don't really know about brain injuries. I know Ali has looked at it as well, and has questioned a lot of stuff that Dr. Shephered of stuff and experts that she know as well. But it's still odd to me that they didn't mention any other injuries that actually happened to Jay, like his hands, or how come his wrist didn't break, or the parts, some of the neck, and injuries to the shoulders if you're falling at the end of the day, and twisting, or leg injuries. This didn't make sense to me. If you've got head injuries and you're falling from that height, that is completely bizarre. Welcome back to the final part, people. I'm just going to go back to the message, obviously, because because it was quite deep. I had to ponder on it. And obviously the message has said, to my very great surprise, a commenter on Wax's latest video on here on how they knew Jay Slater was already dead. Name, I'm not going to put the name out there, wrote to Wax, part of which is quoted, fitted up by your new best mate, this snake bee, the other bee cut you with a machete. The coroner's photo of your skull tells the tale. You stood no chance. That machete cut instantly ended your life. Wow. Wow. And it looks too clean to be Jacket Rocks as well. And it's amazing what comes out. And I do believe that there are some people out there who knew more than what they were actually letting on. And I believe that the Guardia Civil didn't really want to go there, not knowing that these things do happen, and people end up thrown over mountains or in a well. One of the sleuths was talking about someone was, thrown into a well or something like that. It's just absolutely bizarre, to be honest with you, what actually happens in Tenerife. People basically dismembered, thrown out to sea in Tenerife. We've heard so many stories, but like I said, we need just to keep putting things out there at the end of the day, because I always believe that there's more to case than just Jay falling to his death, to be honest with you, and found in a ravine with these kinds of injuries, which I think is discussed. Just because we listen to experts, it doesn't mean that they're right about every little detail in which they see at the end of the day. But like I said, this was very, very alarming, and it should be kept in people's archives just in case there ever is a further investigation by the family, or they're not happy with all about the coroner's report as well. But that is very, very, very interesting as well, because what it tells you that this was a lot more sinister than what we first thought. Machete. It really does make you think, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? That there are people out there, dangerous people out there, that think nothing of using, such a weapon against somebody else. Let me know your thoughts, people. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment and follow the channel. Thank you.